Who wants to hear the story about the guy that I was seeing who was also seeing his sister? I meet this guy on Hinge, okay? He's gorgeous. Like, he looks just like Leo from Tell Me Lies, okay? Gorgeous. So he drives 2 hours to take me on our first date. And we had been talking for a couple weeks at this point. And this is right before or right after my divorce. So, like, I would never do this now. I would never do this now. But I was like, okay, like, why don't you just, like, stay the night after our date? Girl, be so real. Do you think that's a good idea? No. I'll call him Tony. That's not his name. I was like, I opened my door, I said, Tony. And he looks up and starts skipping stairs to get to me. And he gives me a big hug and he has flowers. He was like, I'm so excited to, like, actually see you. And I was like, me too. I was like, I'm finishing getting ready, like, come in, whatever. He takes me to dinner. He has a really nice car. He takes me to a very nice restaurant. I'm like, okay, this guy has his life together. He had gotten out of the military. I won't say which branch. And he was getting his master's. So I was like, his life is, like, put together. I'm obsessed. And the conversation is so good. And he's so interested about my interests, which is, like, not typical. A lot of people just don't want to talk about neuroplasticity and how cool it is. That's, like, one of my biggest interests. He was clocked in. He was ready, okay? He was applying for the job to be my boyfriend. And he's telling me about him, and he grew up on a farm in a southern state, and he was homeschooled. But, like, not the type of homeschool where you're with other kids, the type of homeschool that it's just you and your siblings, okay? And he has a sister who is, like, a year younger, 2 years younger. Anyways, so we finished the first date. He stays over. He's already texted me about our next date. He's excited. He's, like, really into it. So he says, why don't you come by me, which is by, like, Eastern, like, ECU. I think that was the school he was getting his master's at. And he was like, we'll do, like, some fun mini golf. I'll take you to this hot dog place because he knows I love hot dogs. I love hot dogs. Leading up to the date, I was feeling, like, sketched out for whatever reason. For really no reason. He was great. But my, like, intuition was like, ooh, this is not good. But my heart was like, what are you talking about? Like, shut up. Ugh. Having fun, living life, he's hot. At the same time, there was a documentary about that guy. I can't think of his name right now, but he was in Call Me By Your Name. And there was a documentary about, like, all the girls that he had, like, essayed. And, like, for whatever reason, I was getting the same vibe. And I was also getting the same vibe of, like, maybe he was going to eat me at some point. And I can't explain why. He never, like, gave me any reason to believe that he was going to eat me. But I started to really, really hone in on the fact that he was going to, like, hurt me somehow. So we go on the date. Date is so fun. But then at dinner, after mini golf, he was like, you know what? You look just like my cousin. And I was like, oh my gosh. Huh. And he was like, I mean, she's hot. I'm like, oh. Okay. He showed me a picture. I look identical. And then he's telling me how hot I am the rest of the night. And I'm thinking, oh, this guy wants to fuck his cousin. This is what this is. He wants to fuck his cousin. So we go back. He gets a hotel because he has a roommate because he's in school. He brings out things that I don't want. Wait, who are you doing that with? Because it ain't me. Like, dangerous things. Like, for the bedroom? I was like, this isn't, like, no. We started having, like, pillow talk, okay? We're getting really deep into conversation. And he reveals to me that when he was in, like, 3rd grade, him and his sister got really curious. I'm gonna throw up. Girl. And I was like, huh? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? And he, like, really gets into detail of what they did from 3rd grade to a couple of years ago. They were having a full-blown relationship. in that in just that one way. Okay? I really hope y'all are picking up what I'm putting down, okay? Him and his sister had relations for years. And I'm fawning at this point because I'm like, I'm actually in danger. This is not good. I've been drinking. I can't drive home 2 hours. And so I become a therapist. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that probably really affected you, you know, throughout your whole childhood. Like, do you think that's like brought into your adult like your life? Like, I'm trying to be a therapist, you know, and try to make him feel comfortable to just like keep talking. But I'm like, I really don't want to hear it. But what am I gonna do? I got nowhere to go. So he tells me everything until we fall asleep. I'm driving home. He's calling me. And he's just like, I had so much fun. Like, I love getting to know you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, me too. So much fun. So much fun. But I was like, you know what? It feels like you don't really have a relationship with God. So, like, I need that. And he was like, well, I also need someone that I can... But, like... I said, yeah, and he's like, yeah, you just didn't seem into, like, all the things that I was into. Yeah, because I'm not. Because most people aren't. I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum, but, like, yuck. Yucky. Yeah. No. Just because they look like Leo does not mean you should date them. No. Ugh. I'm so, like, honestly, this is embarrassing for me to tell. I've waited 2 years to tell this story because every time I try to, I'm like, oh, this looks bad for me. Like, ugh. Well, let me know if you have any questions.
Never ever let a man come over to your house after the first date, and if you used to do this, you'll never do this ever again after hearing this story. So this young girl goes on a first date with this guy she's never met before. They go for dinner and she's having a great time. No red flags. He's not weird. He's not creepy. She doesn't feel alarmed in any type of way. The dinner goes fine, and then eventually at the end of the dinner they part ways and she goes home. Just to note, throughout the dinner he did not hint or insinuate in any shape or form that he wanted to go to her place afterwards because he was such a respectful guy. Right, but when she did get home, she was a little bit surprised when he called her saying that he needs to come over to her place because he can't find his keys and his flatmate is not picking up the phone. And because he seemed like such a genuine guy and such a sweet guy, there was no green flag, like he paid for the dinner and all of this stuff, she let him come over just to kind of help him out while he waits to get through to his flatmate. So he comes over and they're chilling on their couch, having a good time. Nothing was weird. She had no weird vibes. Like, he seriously was like a normal guy. And eventually it did get really late and she was like, hey, you can sleep on my couch while you figure things out. I'm gonna go to my room and go to sleep. And for some reason she had this gut feeling, like this gut intuition that literally just said to her, lock your bedroom door. So on this one occasion, she never ever usually locks her bedroom door, but on this one occasion she locks her bedroom door because, let me tell you, a woman's intuition never lies to you. She knocks out, she goes to sleep. A couple of hours pass and she hears a few knocks on her door and it's him, and he's just asking her for a charger, but she had this instinct to not open her door and go show him the charger. So she literally just yelled from her bed and was like, the charger's in the kitchen, go help yourself. Says thank you and goes silent, and a couple of minutes go by. At this point she's just like, fine, he's got the charger, he's doing his business. But then he knocks on her door again and he's like, hey, this iPhone charger's not working. Can I come in your room? Like, do you have a charger in your room that I can use? Alarm bells are ringing in her head. And she's like, why does this man want to get in my room so badly? So she basically called the police. He did not know at this point that she actually phoned the police. He had no idea the police were coming. And then eventually she hears the police come, knock down the door. There's a lot of commotion going on in the living room. And then a couple more moments and a couple more minutes go past and the police eventually knock on her bedroom door saying, hey, it's the police, you're safe, you can now come outside. When she walked out her bedroom door into the living room, everywhere was plastered up. There was plastic sheets covering all the furniture, and there was a box of power tools, hammers, axes, drills, like you name it, screwdrivers, just a box of just tools there in her living room. If she did not use her womanly instincts, she would have been gone. She would have been gone. And it's just so sad that there are men, and they are disguised. There are men that are disguised. They show this friendly, outgoing, showing all the green flags, knowing the right things to say, but they are just most horrific, nasty people. He was so prepared to unalive her that night. Babe, if you have listened this far, I cannot stress enough, never, ever, ever let a man come home to your house on the first date, because you don't know who this guy really is and you don't know what he's capable, and God forbid this ever happens to you. So make sure you tell your girlfriends and you make this as a mental note that you will never, no matter how sweet, how convincing this guy is, he's not coming home with you.
Hey guys, I have a very scary story to tell you about my mum and I when we were in London about 2 months ago. Okay, so we're staying in a really nice hotel. It's 5 stars, beautiful. Anyway, this one night we got home at like 12 a.m. and we got ready for bed, fell asleep, and then I got woken up by mum like nudging me and like whispering something to me, but I sleep with like a sleep mask on, and I must have thought that it was morning because the lights were all on in the room, so I thought it was just daylight. So I took it off and I'm like looking at her and I'm like, what? Like, what do you want? And she's like, Maddie, someone's in our room. And I'm like looking at her. I don't know, I'm still whispering. I'm like looking at her and I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I swear to God, I just saw someone walk into our bathroom. And I was like, what? And I look at the time and it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, what are you talking about? And we're both silent for like 5 seconds, and then we hear something in the bathroom, and so we jump out of bed and run to the front door, and we're standing by the front door, like we haven't closed the door yet because we don't have a key, and like we've just left everything inside, and it's like quite a big room as well, and the bathroom is right next to the bed, but the lights in the bathroom were off, but we were hearing noises. Anyway, I'm like looking at mum and like our hearts are like racing, and then we couldn't hear anything. Mum was like, maybe I'm hallucinating, or maybe like I dreamt it. And I'm just like, in my head I'm thinking, if this bitch has woke me up 3 a.m. because she's literally dreaming, I'm literally gonna kill her. Anyway, we're still by the door, we're silent. Mum goes around the corner to like look where the bed and bathroom is. She can't see anything, but then she hears like a noise, and so she runs back out, and we're doing the exact same thing. We're standing there like we have no idea what's going on, but we keep hearing these sounds from the bathroom. So then after a little while, it's my turn to look, and I walk around the corner and I run back. I see something and I run back to Mum and I go, Mum, there is a man in our bed. And she goes, are you effing serious? And I said, yep, there is a man in our bed. Like, he's in our bed, tucked in on your side. And Mum's like, I'm gonna hold the door, you like run down to reception and get security. So I do. My pajamas are inside out, like I don't have any shoes on, my hair's like a mess, and I run down to reception. So I get to reception and I like tell them what's happened. I'm like, a man has come into our room and he's hopped in our bed, and they're like literally so frazzled and confused. Anyway, they come upstairs with me, they come in the door. Mum and I are like waiting out by the door, so we can't actually see what's happening, but we can hear everything that's happening. And we hear the security guards being like, sir, like trying to wake him up. So he was obviously asleep. Like, sir, like you're in the wrong room. Like, are you staying in this? Oh my God, I'm running out of time. I'm sorry, go to part 2.
The Waverly Hills Sanatorium is probably way scarier than you think. I was going to do a video on it, so I started doing some research and reading about the history of it. People just talk about like the ghost stories, right? There's like a kid, like, and if you roll a ball down one of the halls, he'll like roll it back and stuff like that. And there's this like nurse that people see, and it's like, oh, it's scary. It's scary. These are scary stories. I love scary stories. I tell them all the time. But I was reading into it, and the reason it's haunted is so obvious when you look into it. The things that these... So, okay, so what is Waverly Hills Sanatorium? It's, so it was like a hospital for tuberculosis patients. And it started small. It was like 40 people, but there's like an epidemic of tuberculosis. It's an infectious bacterial disease of the lungs. And so they quickly had to expand. It went from like 40 to 400 people, and people kind of just went there to die because there wasn't a whole lot of treatments for tuberculosis. If only that was it, though, because they tried to treat it. The things that they would do to try to make people better was just downright medieval and cruel and sadistic. It's like medical malpractice blushes at the things that these doctors did. Just absolutely wild. And I don't have enough time in any video to talk about this. This would have to be like a series. But they would like collapse lungs. They would like puncture the lungs of these people with these tuberculosis, lung infection. You're dying because you can't breathe. And they puncture one of your lungs thinking, we do that, and then the lung will be able to rest because it's not moving around a lot. But most of them just died anyway. And this was before antibiotics, which is the reason this was a problem in the first place. Now tuberculosis, you get TB, and it's like you can treat that. It's not a death sentence. But like back then, big deal. They thought that fresh air, I mean, there's like logic to it, right? They thought fresh air would help. And so every room, these private rooms had like windows on either side. They'd keep them open at all times. And all the time, like all seasons, right? And they would wheel these patients out onto this balcony area, even in the winter. And they would leave them there. And a lot of them would freeze to death. You got a punctured lung, you got tuberculosis, you're dying already, and somebody wheels you out into the winter to die. And this was like frequent, right? And you say, okay, well, how many people could that really be? Because there's like 400 people, a lot died there. So many that they had to make this tunnel, this massive long tunnel that went from this hospital all the way down to the road so that they could take the bodies out so that people wouldn't see them and then hurt their morale. They were worried that would kill more people if they were like, oh, everybody's dying. So they would like put people on gurneys after they died, and then they would wheel them down and then come back. And this happens so often. I had to double check this number. And what I read, still can't believe it, 1 every 20 minutes. Do the math on that. I'm not great at math. Somebody in the comments. 1 person every 20 minutes. 24 hours is how many a day? And this houses 400 people. So how many people were they having to replace every day? People were just like always coming into this place just to die? Wild. And you might be like, 24 hours, that's crazy. They had people there like every 20, that's had to be like really well staffed, right? Yeah, they lived there. They lived there. This infectious, incurable disease. These nurses, these doctors, they lived there. And you might think, well, did they get TB? Did they also die? Yeah. They would get it, and then they would experience the exact same kind of horrific treatments that they had just subjected other people to, and then be wheeled out the body chute, is what they called it. And they started doing other treatments, treating other diseases there that they had no right to. It's like, there's so much that happened there. It's like, of course it's haunted. I'm surprised it's not more haunted. It's considered one of the most haunted places in the world. And there's like a list of all the people that died there on this website. And I was looking through, scrolling, this list just kept going. And I'm just like, wow, yeah, a lot of people really did die there. That's crazy. And then I scrolled down, there were more pages. I had to scroll over to see how many pages there were. Like probably thousands of people. What? That's so, in a single building? I want to go there. I gotta go there. I have to ask ghosts some very specific questions.
So I told this story already once on my TikTok, but I think people thought that it was fake because of the way I conveyed it. So I'm going to tell it again in a way that I think people are actually going to take it in for what it is, okay? Because this is a real true story. And it's why you should never make friends at a bar or make friends and fully like put your trust in them. Okay, this was like my moment of realization that you cannot trust other women just because they're women. Like, not everybody is a girl's girl. And this is what solidified that for me. So one night I went to this bar by myself because I didn't want to go home. I was in a really abusive relationship with my ex, baby, father. So whatever, I didn't want to go home to get belittled, beaten, and whatever. So I decided to go to the bar by myself. Now I would have gone with some friends, but I had moved away from my hometown for this motherfucker. So I had no friends. And so I decided that I was just going to go by myself, clear my head, get a couple drinks, and then I would go home. Hopefully he'd be sleeping by then. So I order myself a Paloma. Those are so good. Don't sleep on those. It makes me feel like a rich bitch when I order one of those. Like, hey, can I please get a Paloma? And they look at me like, you know what the fuck that is? Anyways, yeah, so I order a Paloma. And I'm sitting there, I'm drinking it, I'm minding my fucking business. I'm literally not conversing with anybody because I am depressed. I'm thinking about what's gonna happen to me when I go home. When in comes this girl who introduces herself to me as Maggie. And I'm using her real name because I don't even think that that was her real name. I think she just gave me a random name, which in hindsight, I should have done the same. So then she asks me what I'm drinking. I tell her what it is, and she orders 2 more and pushes one over to me and, you know, gets one for herself. And then we just have like normal bar small talk. At the time, I thought that she was going to be like one of my friends, you know. I thought she was a safe person. I thought she was cool to hang out with, and that it would be like a good, you know, little dynamic to get me away from this abuse. Come to find out, I was wrong about that. Fast forward, the bar's closing and I'm drunk and I still don't want to go home because at that point, like, I know that that guy is still awake. I know that I'm going to go home and he's going to be like, you cheated on me, and then bop, 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 bop. So couldn't do that. Didn't want to do that. And I had nowhere else to go because, like I said, this was a new area for me. I moved away from my friend's family and everything to live in this guy's house with him. So whatever, Maggie could tell that I didn't want to go home. So she invited me to go to what she was going to after she left the bar, which was she was going to go to like a bonfire at her friend Josh's house. Again, using the real name because I don't think these are their real names. So stupidly, I was like, yes, I will go with you because I don't want to go home. The car ride was fine, okay? The car ride was great. I remember jamming. We had all the windows down. Honestly, I felt like I was riding in the car with my best friend. Like, it was those type of vibes. It was vibes. So then she starts driving down this, like, dirt road, which isn't, I'm thinking, like, okay, this person probably lives on a dirt road. Like, we literally live out in the middle of nowhere, so I'm assuming that she knows where she's going. Okay, everything's fine. Then instead of pulling into like some kind of neighborhood or even like a driveway or anything like that, she pulls into a clearing, turns the car off, and then literally just turns to me. Like, she just turns to face me and she just stares at me. And I'm like, can I help you? Like, so at that point, I just assume that something's wrong with the car. And I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on? Is everything okay? And so calmly, this girl looks at me and she goes, get out of the car. I'm sorry, what? What, to get out of this car? You want me to get out of my seat? And at first I was like, dude, I'm not going outside. It's dark outside. I'm scared of the fucking dark. Hell no. She wasn't having it. She just wanted me to get out of the car. She pulled out this little tiny, like little small pocket knife, like something that like wouldn't even defend off a freaking cat, you know? So I don't really know why I was so scared. I don't want to be stabbed by anything, you know? So I get out of the car and then she gets out on her side, comes around to my side, stares at me for another like maybe 5 seconds, I don't know. And then she says, I'm gonna give you a 20-second head start, okay? Like literally like, okay, okay? Girl, what do you mean? I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. What? You have got to be fucking joking with me. You have got to be fucking joking with me right now. This is not happening. So I stand there for another like couple seconds, not really believing what she's saying to me. And then she literally is like, I'm giving you 20 seconds. She said it one more time. She said, I'm giving you 20 seconds. You should probably take the 20 seconds. What? So I start sprinting through these dark ass woods with my boots on. I'm drunk. I'm disoriented. I don't know where I am. I've never been in these woods before. I've never been on this road before. As I'm running, I can hear her running behind me. And she did give me 20 seconds. It was probably like more like 10 seconds at that point, but she gave me a couple seconds to like sprint for my life through these woods. And like as I was running, right, she's behind me. I can see a flashlight, and then I start to see another flashlight, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, what the fuck is this? And like, maybe this is her friend. This has to be her fucking friend. This has to be Josh, right? So I'm running for my life. They're following me. Both of them are following me. I don't have my flashlight on. I'm kind of far ahead of them, okay? Like, I can only see their flashlight and barely hear their feet, like, pitter-pattering behind me. So I get to this river, okay? I don't want to cross the river because I know, like, I'm going to get stuck in this river. Like, it's going too fast for me to cross in a timely fashion so that they're not going to get me. So I scope everything out as best as I can in the dark, and right to my left, there's, like, this hollowed out log. And so I dive in there, like fucking literally like blink into this fucking hollowed out log. Don't know if there's an animal in there. Probably just chilling with the spiders. I don't care. I shit you not. About like maybe 10 seconds after I nosedived into that hollow log, I hear them. I can hear them running right next to the river, like right where I just was, right where I was hiding in the log. So then I hear Maggie say, maybe she crossed the river. We should go across the river. And then the deeper voice, to which I assume was absolutely had to be Josh, he was like, well, okay, maybe you should go check across the river and I'll check on this side of the river and see where she's hiding. She couldn't have gotten very far. I am sweating. I'm holding back tears. I'm trying not to be that girl in the horror movie that like lets out a and then they fucking find her. I'm barely breathing in this hollow log and I don't move for the entire night. And they spent a long time out there looking for me, like in the vicinity, before they started like, you know, going deeper into the woods or wherever it is that they decided to go. I don't know if they gave up looking for me or what, but yeah, I stayed in that log for the whole entire night. Somehow I ended up falling asleep because I remember waking up and seeing like the light of dawn. Like it was barely dawn in the morning. And that was the only time that I sort of felt safe coming out. And even then I was like, what if they like waited? What if they like are sitting out here like hunters, like waiting for me to come? What is going on? Whole time I did have my phone with me, but there's no service out in the woods. There's no service out on the back roads where I live. So I was fucked. I had no way of communicating with anybody, and my fucking phone was like fully charged, dude. That being said, I did have means of calling somebody once I did get to a public road, and I called my brother and he was there. He brings me to the police station and I file my report or whatever, but nothing ever came of it because, like I said, I'm pretty sure she gave me fake ass names. Like, those were not their names. Of course, why would she be giving me their real names if they were going to be hunting me? It's super scary to think that I literally could have died. I almost died. And in a really scary way. Like, that is one of my biggest fears. Like, I want to die peacefully, okay? I don't want to die like that. I barely made it away unscathed. I don't trust people you meet. I know that we're all like, you can never trust a man and you should more frequently be able to trust women, but you can't even trust the women. Girl, she was like my age. Like I was around 21, 22 maybe. Not everybody is a girl's girl and not everybody has good intentions. Like there are some conniving ass bitches out there. Wonder if they've done that to somebody before, or if I was like gonna be the first one or something like that and then I got away and then maybe they did that to somebody else. What the like, is that just like her game? Like she goes into bars and drinks with people and then invites them out and then goes and hunts them with her friend or boyfriend or husband or whoever the frig that guy was? I have no answers. I only have the story to tell. Moral of the story, don't trust anyone.
You guys want to hear a scary story? It reminds me a lot of Insidious, but it's real. One time when I was babysitting these two girls, talked about them in a video before this, we were going to call the older one Luna and the younger one Aura. That's what I called them last time. I was babysitting and the older one had an imaginary friend that she called Pete. I would always sense weird energy in this house. Disturbing, dark, like not good, friendly Casper the Ghost. And then one time, the oldest Luna at the time was, I want to say she was 3 or 4. And the baby, Aura, was like 6 months old. And I had put Aura down for bed. Put her in her little swaddle, got her all set up. She was snug as a bug, cute, perfect sleeping. And me and Luna we're out in the living room because I was like, okay, we can play one game together like before you go to sleep because Aura obviously went to bed a little bit earlier. I think we pulled out like Candyland, some board game, which obviously she doesn't know how to play the ins and outs and the rules because she's 3. But when we were playing, she had another little character and it was Pete's, right? And every time, I swear to God, I would look away, I'd look back and it would move and she'd be like, oh, Pete moved it. And I'm like, okay, Luna, like you obviously moved it, you know? Like she's 3 and I know she's just like, you know, she doesn't know how to play the game. Now I know it was literally this dark spirit that was moving it, but stay with me. I'm like, okay, Luna, sure. And then out of nowhere, we're playing and the TV was on in the background, excuse me. And Luna goes, I love this song. And I'm like listening. I'm like, what song, baby? Like, I don't hear any music. And she said, oh, the song that Pete is singing to me. She said, it's a song that my daddy plays on his guitar because their dad played guitar, I guess. Like, I'd always see the guitar. Sometimes it'd be in the living room or sometimes it'd be in the parents' room. Like, when I'd go in there to grab stuff for the kids, it was just, like, always propped against a wall. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, remember what we said about Pete? Because I told her I didn't want her talking to Pete because, again, this felt like a dark energy. And it sucked because every time I was there, I felt like he was sitting in between me and her. Like, he was always, the spirit, Pete, was always hovering. It would never go away. So anyways, I'm like, what song? Blah, blah. And she's like, I'm trying to get her to describe to me again. She's 3. She doesn't really know how to describe it. And she says, no, Pete said he'll play for you. And I said, no, that's okay. Like, want anything to do with it? She said, no, he'll play for you. Just hold on. So I ignore it and we start playing this game again. Just moving little pieces across the board. And all of a sudden I hear the strum of a guitar. Just a solo strum, like an off chord. And I just get chills down my back because at this time the guitar was in the parents' room. I only knew that. I hadn't gone in their room that time, but because I heard it and their door was shut. And Luna jumps up. She's like, oh, I told you, Riley. Like I told you, Pete said he'd show you the song. It's my favorite song. And I'm terrified. Like I'm trying so hard to act cool. I don't know how this little girl is not so scared, but I'm just like, oh, okay, hold on. Let me just go look real quick because my immediate thought was like, maybe somebody's in the house, like a real person, because that sounded way too real. It literally was just a strum of a guitar. So I go into the parents' room, I turn on all lights, the guitar is just sitting against the wall. Nobody's in the house. I do a sweep, and I'm like really disturbed because every sweep I'm doing, I feel like something is just hovering and following me into every room I'm going into. So I finally sit back down with her. I'm like, okay, babe, let's watch like 10 more minutes of the show, and then like we're gonna go to bed. When I sat on the couch with her, it was the first time I felt like not super heavy, overpowering energy. And I'm like, whew, okay, like, but anyways, I was like, okay, this feels a little less heavy. Sorry, my dog's drinking water in the background. She's so loud. So I'm like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. And I pick up the baby monitor right next to us. You guys know what's coming. You've seen the scary movies because it literally was just like that. Pick up the baby monitor to check on Aura and I literally gagged when I think about this because it was so terrifying. I see a hand, right next to the baby. She's sleeping, she's swaddling, and it's a creepy hand where the nails are like this long and it's just this black shadowy hand just right next to her. And again, this is the first time I said I felt relieved, like I wasn't being followed. It's because it went in the other room. I freak out. I literally sprinted, ran, busted into Aura's room, woke her up because I came in the door so hot. She was crying and just felt that energy in that room was disgusting. I pick her up, I bring her back out to the living room. I'm like trying to explain to the parents when they come home, like they're gonna think I'm insane of why their kids are still awake. And I'm sitting on the couch with the baby and with Luna, and I forgot to turn off the baby monitor. And I literally hear just disembodied voices coming from the baby monitor. Terrifying, out of nowhere, loud. And I literally just shut the baby monitor off. And the baby ended up falling back asleep in my arms. Luna ended up falling back asleep, and she like fell asleep on me, like her little head was on my shoulder. When the parents came out, I was like, sorry, they're just like so sweet, and they just wanted to sleep out here with me. Because I tried again to, like I explained this in the other video, but I tried to kind of bring it up to them before, how like something I thought was going on in their house paranormal, and they looked at me like I was fucking insane. So I knew I wasn't getting anywhere with that. But that was also one of the terrifying times I experienced babysitting for those kids.
I like to play a little game at home called Refrigerator Jenga, where I try to remove something from the very back without moving any of the items cluttered in front of it. And it's fun because if I win, I get my item and I feel proud of myself. And if I lose, I spend 40 minutes cleaning up marinara and broken glass off the floor. 82% of CIA agents are men, which is crazy to me because one time I used a guy's public Venmo transaction history and his Twitter likes to figure out that he was also seeing a girl across the country. And I just don't believe a man could do that.
Hey y'all, so I just got back from my trip from Mexico. I do look a little crazy, y'all. It's the next day and I just got back to Philly. But I'm here to basically tell y'all my experience in Tulum and tell y'all do not ever go. Don't go to Mexico, y'all. It's so dangerous. It's unsafe. Don't go. Take my experience and learn from it. So our B&B was nice, y'all. This is some pictures of it. Just really beautiful overall, not gonna lie. So the reason why I stayed in a B&B and not a resort is because it was supposed to be 8 of us on the trip, but only 7 of us ended up coming, whatever, cool. But either way, I did enjoy the B&B experience, and I am glad because maybe that helped us experience less injustice. Now, it might be different for other people, but I enjoyed my Airbnb and the services rendered. Now, when we first got to Mexico, the first issue that we encountered was the rental. If you know, they make you bid for business, they all be trying to, oh, come with me, come with me. I give you discount, I give you best deal. So at first, y'all, we went to Enterprise to bid for business. They told us that they were going to give us a 8-passenger truck, and they were going to give it for $600, $500, which is literally not bad at all. But where they get you at is that once you leave the airport, you cannot come back in, which is the strangest thing that I've ever heard. Think about it. In your city, when you leave the airport, do they not let you come back in? Wow. So whatever rental place you pick, they have shuttle buses to take you to where the cars is at, and you cannot get back into the airport through certain ways. Like, you literally have to go around the entire airport to get into certain ways. And where the rental cars is at, you cannot get back into the exact place where all the rental car places are bidding for your business. So we gets there, and for one, they did not give us the right truck. They literally scammed us, and they literally played that role like they were going to give us an 8-passenger. At first, they tried to give us a 5-passenger truck. Then the 8-passenger truck that they gave us, the truck was literally so small that 8 suitcases weren't going to fit at all. And at that point, it was like, we might as well just take it, because we tried to get excursions done the first day, but that was stopping us up. The whole rental process, it was just too much. Whole time, y'all, then they try to get us to say they don't take they don't take debit cards. They need a credit card for their down deposit. So we had to go back to the airport, and we had to wait for somebody from a different rental company to come outside where the taxis and stuff is, and we had to talk to them. So we ended up going with Hertz. They gave us another bullshit car. Literally, the car speakers and the music was like staticky. It was just bullshit. It was literally bullshit. And they don't even let you try out the car before you buy it. They literally just make you buy the car, then they pull up in the car and just give it to you. That's it. That's all. But at that point, y'all, like I said, not only were we in desperate measures, but we needed a car to get around. So it was just like, we just gonna take what we gotta take. Then our friends are literally looking for us, y'all. They're not letting them get to Terminal 3. They're in Terminal 4, y'all. They're literally right across. They could literally see us from the windows outside of their terminal. And they would not let them come out the terminal. So they literally had to wait and, sorry to say it, but run out to get to us, because they would not let them out. They kept telling them, yeah, you can only get out if you're taking a taxi or if you're renting. Like, everything with them is money. Money, 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 money. Let's try to see how we could get this money. Other than that, the rest of the trip went smooth. I had a lot of fun. Nice restaurants, you know. A couple other restaurants was crappy that we tried. It was just one restaurant that was terrible. It's called La Taquera. Really terrible, really nasty. Do not recommend. But other than that, though, everything else was good. Cool. So the last day, we agreed to go to the airport at 6 o'clock in the morning, just because we did not know the check-in process. We'll check bags. We're in a different country. We're just trying to make sure that we get there on time at the right time. Lo and behold, our Airbnb is in the jungle, like in the forest, so it's no roads. Tulum is not fully built, if you know, you know. So they only have main roads, no service, and like where the Airbnbs and stays be at, because it just be dirt, rocks, mud. It's no roads, no streets, no nothing. Just paved roads with, I guess, mud, dirt, rocks, tree branches, all types of stuff that you will find in a jungle or a place like that. Cool, we're riding. Of course, our tire pops. So my boyfriend gets down, he tries to fix the tire, and he got everything right perfectly. The rental car gave us these corny tools to fix a tire, so that was already taking up a lot of time, literally. It was just so much going on, y'all. That's when we finally get done with the whole tire situation, y'all. It was just so much. And we get to go ride back to the airport. We're like, okay, we can still make it, y'all. We had like an hour or two left. We can still make it at this point. Come on, let's just have high energy. We're not even at this point worried about missing our flight, because we're looking at the GPS and the time is saying that we're going to make it before our flight. Of course, another problem comes. They stop us at a checkpoint where like these cops are at with the AK-47. You might as well say the cartel. Call a spade a spade. They stop us, y'all. They let all the cars pass. And of course they stop us and pull us over. It's a checkpoint. It's like a toll, but people are standing there with guns, basically telling you if you could go or if like you have to get pulled over to get an inspection. So they're inspecting our car and saying that we're breaking laws because we don't have a seatbelt on, which is respectable. But then they're saying we're breaking laws because we're lapping it up, because the suitcases are taking up so much room in the back that we had to put one of the rows down in the seats and like had to sit on each other's lap. So they tell my mom, get out the car after asking for the registrations, the license, y'all. She's doing everything that they're asking. They tell her to step out the car. At this point, everybody's heart is beating because y'all got these big guns. The man is clutching on the trigger. What are y'all going to do to my mom? Like, it was such a scary experience, and it was just uncomfortable. Then y'all barely speaking English. Y'all just, like, it's just weird. Like, y'all just picking at this point. So she tells my mom, yeah, pay $400 or you go to jail. Why would somebody want to go to jail? And that's messed up, because what if somebody don't have $400 and you're not supposed to do that? That's like a cop pulling you over and say, yeah, pay $400 or you go to jail. What? So they tell her, yeah, pay $400 or you go to jail. They want to say, yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll do you a favor and give you a 50% off discount. What? What are y'all talking about? So then my mom like, okay, I don't have cash. Like, I only have a card. We don't take card. Yeah, y'all don't, because y'all know that those transactions are going to show, and that's illegal. You're not supposed to do that. So then they like, yeah, go over there, get the money, and come back by yourself. They told my mom to come back by herself. What? Like, what is wrong with these people, y'all? And then they took my mom ID basically as a way to tell her, like, yeah, you have no other choice but to come back. We have your information. We have your ID. So my mom goes to get the money, and she walks back by herself, and my heart is literally beating, y'all. I get out of the car, and me and my boyfriend, we watching my mom from a distance, because at this point, like, we're panicking. People in the car is literally mad that they're about to miss their flight, and all I'm worried about, truthfully, is the fact that something could happen to my mom. Simple. Like, this man is walking over with an AK-47, clutching his gun. It's just too much. Like, I've never been in a situation like this before. So they ain't gonna tell my mom, put it down, put your hand down. Basically saying, put your hand down so nobody see what's going on. Give me the money down low so nobody knows what's going on. And as he's telling my mom to put her hand down, like, he pointing the gun, like, basically, like, directing the gun to put her hands down. Like, that's saying, yeah, no other checkpoints will stop you because you already paid. Lo and behold, we get stopped by another checkpoint. Like, at this point, I'm literally irritated. I'm literally so irritated. Like, I'm irked. Then we get to the airport. We're rushing. They gave us injustice. We had to book a whole nother flight, y'all. We had to stay at the airport. We're at Starbucks. Starbucks closed at 9 o'clock in the airport. 10 o'clock p.m. in the airport. And then they had the audacity to say that their airport closes at 9 p.m. I never heard of an airport closing. I thought our airports was 24/7. And it was other people, y'all, that was going through the same thing. They were kicking them out the airports. Literally, basically saying, like, they don't have a hotel, no car, no rental. Because at that point, you already returned your car. You already checked out your hotel, checked out your Airbnb. You just have to sleep outside till the airport opens up again. I don't know, find a way. It's basically what they tell you. That's so cruel. Then on the way back, they basically put, like, a warning on my friend to basically say, like, she's danger, check her. So every time we went through TSA at another airport, they pulled her in the room with cops, checked her down, checked her bag, scanned her phone, did all of this stuff for no reason, y'all. No reason. They checked my boyfriend, literally dumped out the stuff in his bag, patted him down, patted his dreads down, saying that, why? Because he's black with tattoos? That he was that they were scared that he was going to bring in cocaine. Then they don't talk English. They talk Spanish. So everything that you do, they get over on you. If they know that you don't talk Spanish and they know that you're not from here, they get over on you. They look at it like, oh yeah, we about to get this money. Then they made my boyfriend miss the shuttle buses, y'all. When we were at first of all, I forgot to tell y'all. When we were literally at the rental car, returning our car, they kept talking on the speakers, making the shuttle buses go past us. We put our airports in this one shuttle bus. This Mexican man took all of our bags out, all of our luggage out the shuttle bus and pulled off on us. And we kept telling them that we were in an urgency to get to the airport. So if you're stuck in a situation like that, don't tell them. Because then they do stuff to hold you back up so that you can stay in their country and spend more money and buy another ticket. They are all working together to get more money from tourists. And that is not okay. I understand that your country is kind of poor, but you do not get over on other people. It's simple.
Story time, creepy story time. Let me tell you about it. I moved into this house. I was working night shift, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So I didn't usually sleep during the night. But the first night that we slept here, or we were supposed to like sleep here or whatnot,
My man had to work, so I was home alone. Keep that in mind. And so I was like, you know what, F it, I don't have anything to do or anything, might as well just try to nap during the night. And so I did. I took a little nap and whatnot, right? Well, that nap was creepy as hell because I was in the house in my dream. And it was empty, no furniture, not my bed, not anything. I remember I was entering my room in my dream. And then I was like, what the fuck? And then I see a man in a chair. This man had a really nice suit. He had this fedora hat, and it was covering his face except for his like mouth, where you could see like his smile. Like, I'll never forget that smile. And he said, you're going to make a perfect addition to this house. And then I woke up. I told my man that I got a creepy vibe and everything, and ever since then I would hear small things, like really small things, like a cabinet closing or a door closing and everything. And he said, oh, it's nothing, it's probably nothing, blah blah. So I was like, okay, you know what, maybe you're right, maybe I just watched a movie or something, whatever. So carry on, right? Time passes. I've been here for a couple months. It dies down. If you hear small things, it's small things, it's nothing, bang, you carry on, right? Well, then my sister moves in because she had turned 18, and she's like, hey, can I move in? Like, I don't want to stay with her parents. And I said, yeah, sure, whatever. She moves in. She's in the spare bedroom. Her first night, she like comes out. She goes, dude. And I go, what? She's like, I had a fucking weird dream. And I said, what? She's like, some guy with a nice suit. And I was like, hold up. A nice suit? She goes, yeah. And I was like, was he wearing a hat? She was, yeah. And I was like, was he wearing a fedora hat? She was like, what? And I had to show her a picture. She goes, yeah, that's it. And everything. And I said, what did he tell you? And she's like, nothing. He stood and looked at me. Like he was, like as if he was observing me and everything. And that in her dream, she noticed that he was just making his rounds through the house and everything. And then I was like, what? And then we were looking up like what generation it could be and everything. Keep in mind, this house is a trailer home, so it's not even that old. I think I have like a 2012 model or something like that. So I was like, but then my sister was like, wait, you're like next to a battlefield, or you're close to a battlefield, you're this and that and everything. Anybody could have easily been traveling and like died on the property. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, let's not think too much in depth about it, it's whatever. That was just our like, because she didn't make me feel crazy, so that was like our thing. I was like, have you ever like dreamed of him again? She said no, he like only made his presence known that one time. Then fast forward, I have a coworker that came over, we had a couple drinks, blah blah and everything, and we were like, you know, chilling and vibing. Then she like tells me that like the next day, she's like, hey dude, not to creep you out, but like I can see things. And I said, oh, bet, cool. Like, so could my mom, because my mom was like very into spiritual stuff. And she was like, no dude, like I for real, like I saw something. And I was like, what'd you see? She goes, there was this man in your laundry room. And I said, oh yeah. She goes, yeah, he's not like bad, but I don't think he's technically good, he's just there. And I was like, what was he wearing? She goes, really nice suit and a hat. And I said, oh, what kind of hat? And she goes, a fedora hat. And I was like, okay. And I was like, did he tell you anything? She goes, no, it looks like he just creeps around. He looks like he goes and he looks, but now he doesn't enter the bedrooms. And I said, okay. And then I told her about my dream. She goes, oh, that's crazy and everything. And then we just started talking, because then she told me she saw somebody else, which like that can be a whole different story. But so that happened, right? Fast forward to yesterday. My little nephew comes over and he's playing with, obviously, like my son. They're playing everything. He comes out, he goes, the man's dead. And I was like, I looked at my sister-in-law and I was like, huh? And she's like, what are you talking about? He goes, the man's dead. And he thought about like my man, like my kid's dad. And I was like, no, he's in Kansas and blah blah. And he goes, no, the man in the room, he's dead. And I was like, my sister-in-law there is in shock. I'm in shock. And I looked at him. I said, hey, baby, does that man have a hat? He goes, yeah, but he's dead. He's standing over there. Oh my. I didn't ask anything of it. My sister-in-law looks at me. She goes, what is happening? And I told her about every single occurrence and everything. And I told her, I was like, your son is the only one that has like said it straight off the bat and everything. So I don't know who he is. I don't know what he is, but I think he's about to be mad because I'm gonna move soon. So yeah, that's my little story time.
I'm ready to tell you guys about the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me on a date ever. And enough time has passed that I don't think the guy that I went on a date with would ever recognize me or remember this. Hopefully. Let's keep it that way, guys. I went on a date with this guy that I met on Hinge. He got straight to the point. I was like, hey, let me take you out. I was like, hell yeah, I love a man that gets straight to the point. Let's go. He made all the plans. He told me to meet him for dinner. Boom, done. We got to the date. At first, I wasn't attracted to him based off of what I saw on Hinge. But it was such a great date. Like, I didn't realize how attractive a man could be based off his like mannerisms. He treated me so well on that dinner date. Like he was just so polite and such a gentleman. Dinner ended and we were heading back to our cars, and as he was walking me to my car, I was like we should continue doing something, like we should go get drinks or something. And he was like, okay, let's go to a bar. I should have gone home, but I didn't. Because we go to this bar, we meet his friends there. The bartender, she is like super attracted to me, and she keeps telling him like, I'm gonna steal your girl. So she's giving us free drinks. Like at one point she gave us these green tea shots that literally were the color black, and after that I don't remember a thing. After that shot, all I remember was waking up face down on grass with throw up all over my hair, all over my shirt, everywhere. And I was asking him to get me an Uber home, and him and his friends were like around me. I just remember like looking around, and they were like standing around me, and he's like, I can't get you an Uber because if you throw up in an Uber, you're gonna get banned. And I was like, I don't care. Like I was yelling like, get me home, and I was just throwing up everywhere. I was in and out of it. So apparently he said I fell asleep for like 45 minutes out on his front lawn, and he was trying to get me inside the house. So they literally had to sit out there while I slept and watch me sleep for a little bit. It was so embarrassing, guys. So at one point he grabs me to try to bring me inside, and I'm like on all fours, right, on the floor, and he grabs me from behind, and he kind of like grabs me from where my stomach is and like pulls me up. Guys, I freaking farted on him. I sobered up so quick in that split second, and then I went back to being drunk. But he got quiet. I just remember like I farted on him, and then it just got quiet, and then he proceeded to try to bring me inside. Somehow he dragged me into the house. I ended up falling asleep on the floor, and he was like begging me to get on his bed, and I was like, no, like leave me alone. I threw up on his carpet. It was just chaos. Somehow he got me to get on his bed. I woke up at 7 in the morning with his arm around me, wrapped up around me, and I smelled like throw up. It was the most disgusting thing ever. I quietly, I found my phone, I quietly ordered an Uber, and I went home. And I messaged him on Hinge, and I was like, I'm so sorry, this is so embarrassing. And then a few minutes later, he texts me, and he's like, I think you forgot you gave me your phone number last night. Guys, he's like, you don't have to be embarrassed. I want to see you again. It was the most awful thing ever. His name was Cole. He was such a cute guy. Like, he was this white boy, such a gentleman. I don't know what happened. I think I was just so embarrassed over what had happened that I couldn't be confident around him because he had seen too much, and that was like the lowest I could ever. I've never done that. I don't know why that would happen. I think somebody might have roofied me. That green tea shot, I'm sure there was something in there that I did not approve of. But if you guys know a Cole that lives in Arizona, don't tell him about this video. If you think your dating life is bad, let me tell you a story. Okay, let me tell you a story. See that back there? That's a suitcase. On Monday, I drove 3.5 hours to go visit a guy because he's in the army and he just never could come visit me. Whatever. So I drive out there to go spend time with him and be close that I can see him every day for 5 days. I come over, he makes me dinner the first night, burnt the dinner to a crisp. Nothing against it, most men can't cook, not surprised. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna make dinner tomorrow night. So tomorrow, the next day, I just go drive around and I go grocery shopping, and I get like $30 worth of groceries to make like a chicken garlic parm dinner. I go back to his place. For 2 hours, I am cooking so that the house smells good when he gets home, and that he has something hot and ready to eat when he gets home. So I make this dinner
I prepare it. It's in the oven. He's doesn't want to eat when he gets home right away, which, like, whatever. He's like, I'm gonna go work out and then I'm gonna eat. And I was like, cool. So he goes and works out. He comes out and we eat dinner. Does not say thank you for cooking the food. He does not say thank you for buying the food. And he doesn't even really compliment. He was just like, at the end, it was like, oh, it was good. That was it. And so then I do the dishes and I clean up. He kind of piddles in there a little bit and then, like, dries and puts away the dishes. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he had a long day at work. You know what? I have no idea. He's in the Army. Who knows? Who knows what kind of day he had? So I was like, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. So the next day I go out and I get more groceries. I buy the groceries. I go back and I make dinner. He comes home a little early and he goes straight to his bedroom. Straight to his bedroom. And I'm like, okay. So I wait an hour and a half and I'm like, well, he's still not out here. So I'm going to make dinner and eat because I'm hungry. And it's like 6:30 at the time. And I was like, okay, I'm making dinner. So I make a quesadilla for me. I make extra and put it in the microwave for him. He comes out like 45 minutes later after I finish eating. I've already washed my dish and put it away. And I'm just sitting on the couch talking to a friend. He literally, I was like, hey, dinner, I made dinner. It's in the microwave for you. And he was like, cool. Goes in, grabs it, literally walks right back to his bedroom. Right back to his bedroom and sits in there and eats the quesadillas that I made by himself. And I know I'm really worked up about it because right now it is 10:30 at night and I am going home a day early because I'm not doing this. I'm going to be home at 1 a.m. I don't care. So he comes back out and I was like, so what'd you think of it? And he was like, it was good. Tasted like an actual quesadilla. It tasted like an actual quesadilla because it was an actual quesadilla, okay? It was an actual quesadilla. I was like, okay, whatever. It's fine. I'm not making dinner tomorrow night. I'm just not doing it. I'm not spending more money on this ungrateful man. So he comes back from work and he's like, hey, what you been doing? You just been chilling today? I'm like, yep, just been chilling. Calling people back home. They're checking in on me, whatever. And he was like, okay, I didn't know if you made dinner or anything. I'm like, I made dinner. No, I did not. So I was like, do you want to watch a movie tonight? And he was like, well, I think I'm going to just work out and make some dinner. And I was like, okay, cool. So he works out, he burns something in the kitchen for dinner. And I'm literally like waiting to see if he's done and we can watch a movie. He goes back to his bedroom like a troll, like a hermit. And so I go and I sit on the couch and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch a movie. So I walk out there to go sit on the couch and select a movie. And I hear this man in his bedroom talking to another woman. And I literally have the receipts on this, but he's literally in his bedroom playing a game, talking to another woman. And like the first night that I came over, he was like, I'm gonna go back and play my game. And I'm like, I wonder if he's just been talking to this chick the whole time. So I was like, I was on the phone with my friend. I said, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm gonna just make up some crappy story and I'm leaving. So I packed up all my stuff. I put it by the door and I knocked on his door and I hear him, oh, hold on a second. Somebody's knocking at my door. I'm gonna hang up and I'll call you back. I'm like, somebody's me, that person that drove 3.5 hours and took time off work where she could have been earning money to spend time with you. Yeah, that's that someone. So he opens the door and I'm like, hey, my mom's having a medical emergency. She's in the ER. I gotta go home. Total lie, super fabricated. I mean, I really should have just told him straight up that I think you're boring. I think you have no manners. And why are you talking to another girl in your bedroom? Like, while one is sitting on the couch, literally in your own home. So yeah, I am currently driving home. I am set to arrive at around 1:30 a.m. back in Mississippi. I'm so sick of dating. I'm so sick of dating because I don't know what it is about me, but I just attract the douchiest men, like the douchiest men. And this is terrible. At least I have enough self-worth, I think, to leave. I'm not gonna stick around, but like at the same time, why does this keep happening? What did I do? What did I do wrong? I was never messy. I cleaned his house while he was at work. I swept the floors. I cleaned the kitchen. I cleaned the plastic he burnt off his stove the night before. I cleaned his bathroom. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, I might be doing too much, honestly. I might be doing too much. It's not that I'm not doing enough. But like, I'm a traditional kind of gal. Like, you open the door for me. You carry my bags. Like, you say thank you if I cook for you. You should want to spend time with me. Otherwise, I don't know why we're even considering dating. Like, this is just, it's bad. It's bad. Anyways, that's my rant. So if you think your dating life sucks, mine's probably worse. It's not that bad because I always get out of it, but like, this keeps happening. This keeps happening, and this one is the worst because I actually drove here. He would not even come to visit me. He would not come to visit me first, and I drove here. I spent my gas, I spent my money on groceries, I spent my time cooking and cleaning, and yeah, this is what it has amounted to. So I blocked him, so he's hopefully not gonna see this video, but if he does, dude, you gotta step up your game because you suck. You are boring. We're so boring. And you need some serious manners, and I don't think you're ready to date because I don't think you know how to treat a woman, or you're just a player and a cheater. So, yeah, I'm disgusted with dating. So the next guy that takes me on a date better impress me, or I might be an old hag that lives by herself with her farm animals. I'm just like, ah! I was literally shaking when I knocked on his door and I was picking up my bag sleeve because I was like so upset. I was like, this is bad. This is bad. So yeah, that is my fun story. I wish it was fake, but I don't even think I have the creative juices to create something like that in my head. But yeah,